What's up, YouTube? It's your boy Uncle Fred back in the house once again. Give me a little bit of content, a little short video today, just to give you the proceedings of the day. The day being the 12th day of March, year of our Lord 2022. And go ahead and hit that like, comment, and subscribe. And let's go ahead and get started. We're not going to take too long here on the show. Well, if you've heard the news today, went ahead and got it to you earlier. Mari Cooper, much embattled in the offseason wide receiver for the Dallas Cowboys, has been traded to the Cleveland Browns for essentially a fifth-round pick. So the deal goes like this. The Cowboys send Amari Cooper and a sixth-round pick to the Cleveland Browns, and in return, the Cleveland Browns are sending the Cowboys a fifth-round pick and a sixth-round pick in this 20 draft. So essentially, the two six-rounders kind of cancel each other out. Their six-rounder obviously is a higher six-rounder than ours. So, and I think they went 8-9, we went 12-5. I think there should be like 10, 11, 12, somewhere in there. Then you add 30 to it. So it's like 40, whatever, in that round, of course. So it's going to be probably 8-9 picks ahead of our normal pick. So in the fifth round, rather, and in the sixth round. So whatever. So all right. So Amari Cooper, acquired Amari Cooper. Trade deadline 2018 for two first-round picks, first-round pick of 2018 and 19. And, I think it was just one first-round pick. It was one first-round pick. I'm thinking of Joey Galloway. And he paid dividends immediately. He elevated Dak Prescott, and we actually went to the playoffs, went on won 6 of our next 7 games. I remember the first game he played, he caught a touchdown pass playing the Tennessee Titans at Jerry World. But they lost that game. I think it was like 28-14 or something like that. And I was disgusted with them. But he hadn't even practiced or anything. And then, he after that, he kind of got in with Dak, and they had a good rapport. And they ended up winning 6 of the next 7 games and went 10-6, won the division, and after won a playoff game against the Seattle Seahawks, 24-22, and went on to play the Los Angeles Rams out in SoFi. Well, actually, it wasn't in SoFi. SoFi wasn't built yet. But anywho, it went out there, and they the Coliseum, I reckon, is what that was. And then, they lost 30-22. But anyway, the fact of the matter was, Amari Cooper gave Dak a legitimate number 1 receiver. They seem to have clicked, and they did okay. All right. Now, this year, had some issues with Amari Cooper, and I'll give you his numbers this year. And then after the 2018 season, also for the 2020 season, they signed him to a 5-year, $100 million contract with, I don't know how much of it was guaranteed, but so roughly like $20 million a year. But they had clauses in it in the back end so that they could get out of it after 2 years, which essentially made it a 2-year, $40 million contract, essentially. And then they could come back and, see what they could do. So anyway, this year, I'll give you his numbers. Amari this year, 68 receptions for 865 yards and 8 touchdowns. And remember, he had like 114 or so yards in the very first game against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So really, and I think he had a couple of touchdowns in that game, if I'm not mistaken. And so he only had like 6 touchdowns the rest of the season, and like 600 and some odd yards the rest of the season. 600 and 70 yards the rest of the season, something like that. I'm just guessing here. So and then look, I thought they probably should have gotten more for him, but I think it was really more of this. They wanted to get the salary dumped because, and I think after the season, because the season ended prematurely, in my opinion, losing to the San Francisco 49ers 23-17. And they it didn't go as well as it did. Of course, now where I got sideways with Amari myself is, first of all, he didn't get himself vaccinated, which I don't have a problem with the non-vaccination. That's your business. You want to vax or you don't want to vax. I myself got vaxxed, but everybody don't think that way, and that's fine. But my thing is, whichever way you play it the way it needs to be played so that you can stay on the field for your team. And I will argue that to my dying days. I don't care which way you side with that. Okay, you can decide not to be vaxxed, fine, but understand the rules were, if you're not vaxxed and you contract CV-19, you got to miss 10 games, 10 days. And then you can't come back until, that, and you're asymptomatic. So you could possibly miss 2 games in that stretch, as opposed to just missing, just getting 2 negative tests if you're vaccinated. Okay. So that being said, if I decide to go the non-vax route, okay, fine. But you best believe I'm gonna make darn sure I'm keep myself out of harm's way. I'm not doing anything unnecessary. I ain't going to no parties. I ain't going to no clubs. I ain't going to no games, other than the games I'm playing. And I'm taking every precaution known to man. Okay. So that I'm not leaving my brothers hanging. So we get down to the Kansas City game. That was a game we needed to have too. And at Friday, right before that, he comes up positive. And of course, he has to miss that game, which we didn't know at the time that he wasn't, because he don't broadcast all that stuff. He found out he was not. But he had to miss that game, which also meant he also had to miss the following game, which was on Thanksgiving, which there was 2 games within like 5 days of each other. That Sunday night game and then Thursday. They played on Thanksgiving. He missed both of those games. Okay. And he got a break because they had like a 10-day or a week off of that game, and they came back on a week after Thanksgiving and played the New Orleans Saints. And he wasn't right in that game. I think he played like 10 plays, and he was weak, and his wind wasn't there and whatnot, because we know that stuff affects different people differently. And he wasn't himself. And it wasn't until he got back, I think, playing the Washington football team. I think he scored a touchdown in that game. That he was back to where he should have been. So essentially, he missed almost 3 games. We lost 2 of those games. All right. So essentially, I don't want to put all that on him, but dude, you missed 2 of those games because you made a decision and you got yourself caught up, and you cost your team 2 games. We could have possibly won both of those games, and Amari played because we didn't know in the Kansas City game that CeeDee Lamb was going to go down and hit his head and miss the rest of that game. So really, the rest of that game, we're going with Michael Gallup, who just got back, and Cedric Wilson and Noah Brown. Okay, those are our receivers. Okay. Now if you had not ever, whatever, had got caught up, you would have been there. We probably still win that game. Okay. And then certainly we would have won on Thanksgiving, because CD Lamb didn't play in that game either, So we went with the same receivers. We went with Michael Gallup. We went with Cedric Wilson and Noah Brown, the 2 number 3 receivers, and a guy that really plays only on like certain downs. Those were our receivers. You put us in the lurch. And then later in the season, you see him at Mavericks games. And I'm like, wow. And we in the playoff hunt. This is like the second to the last game of the season and whatnot. We fighting for playoff positioning, and we trying to, make sure. And you fool around. What if you would have contacted again, and you had to miss 2-3 more games? When you got a game every week now, And I just thought that, he was just too blasé about that. I'm like, dude, you not realize what you're doing to the team? And I don't think the front office was liking that too much, because like, So I have my issues with him. Like I said, I don't have a problem with you not being vaxxed. You could be vaxxed or could not be. I don't have a problem with that. But understand what the rules are for each and abide by those. So that's all I'm saying, man. So Amari Cooper, his Dallas tenure, give you his numbers. 4 years with Dallas, he has 292 catches for 3,893 yards and 27 touchdowns. In that 4-year span, the 292 catches is 7th in the NFL of all receivers over that same 4-year span. His 3,893 yards is 9th. His 27 touchdowns is 9th. Okay. All right. So, what do I think about the trade in and of itself? Well, the reason being is that here, I really believe that, and I've been hearing, I know it was been like a smear campaign on Amari. I like Amari. He's a roll tider, and I remember him at Alabama. Dude, you could not stay in front of that dude. Amari Cooper is an immense talent, so I'm not, I'm not knocking his talent at all. I think he's I hate we had to lose him. But I did know, but he had to know that coming into year 4, I guess. Yeah. 18, 19, 20. Yeah, year 4. And the year 3 of his his pay, whatever, and putting up 68 catches for 865 yards and 8 touchdowns, that they was gonna come see him, because they put a clause in the back end of that contract where they could come back and visit that, as I said before. So they knew that was gonna happen. So he should have known that was going to happen. So it's been up to him and his representation to decide what they want to do. Because you knew they was going to come in and say, look, man, we, and this is the thing, and I talk to people all the time, and I know there's a lot of people that like say, well, man, I wouldn't be giving them no break. Jerry ain't getting no breaks. He's still buying yachts. That's not the point. The point is the NFL is a salary cap league. Hard salary cap league. There's no thing. You can't go. There is no luxury tax that you can go into like you can in the NBA. Okay, it's a hard cap. Okay, so you can ask for all the money you want, but that's money somebody else won't get. So that's why I was sort of skeptical at Dak. Really, did you really have to get $40 million? That's money that you ain't gonna be able to give somebody else. It's all the money is in the same pot. Okay, So, did you have to really? Because you got 12 commercials, you got all this going, and you're the quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys. You know how many other things, speaking engagements and things, you get access to just because you're the quarterback of the Cowboys? You could have, we could have took 33, 35, and worked it out that way. But at least the way his contract is structured, they could come back every so often and fix some things, because he still got guaranteed money. He still got money coming, in it that they could play around with, move some later, make some of it a signing bonus. That's ways they can beat with that. But Amari's contract was not set up that way. So where they could do that, because all the money is on the front end is already done. So it's like, okay, can we negotiate this thing where we can kind of like spread it out a little further and kind of redo the contract and make it longer and give you more years and kind of stretch it out. You still get the money, but we need, and apparently he was not willing to work with them. I know, I need my money. Okay. And see, here's my thing. And I argue with people all the time about this because everybody's like, well, shoot, man, you get your and I do understand this point of view that when you play in a professional sport, your career span is short. Most NFL careers is like 3.5 years. Amari's one of the lucky ones. He's played like 8 years, something like that. He came out in 2015. So what is that? That's 7 years. Okay. He's already, and I think he's still 28, something like that, 28, 29. He's still got some years left. Okay, and that's, and I get all that. But your career is short. Okay. And so I see the thought process or the theology behind, get your money because your money is short, because you only got a certain window when you're in your prime to make prime money. So I do get all that. I'm totally aware of that, and I understand that. All right. Now, but hear this though. And I argue, and I'm talking about argue with a lot of young people. And I hate to keep pulling the age card, but that card wins every time, in my opinion. But sometimes I argue with young people. Sometimes folk, they think that the dollar value, the dollar amount is the big thing. And I tell people all the time, money ain't everything. And I'm going to tell you what I mean by that. Amari Cooper was playing for a team he liked playing for. Playing for, or among people he liked playing for. He liked playing with Dak Prescott. He liked playing for the Cowboys. I think he might have been a Cowboy fan. I think I heard that somewhere. So he liked playing for the Cowboys. He liked being in Dallas, liked that whole thing, liked the facilities he played in. He played in Oakland. You know how raggedy the Oakland facilities are? I've read about them, okay? They may have made some improvements over the last couple of years, but, whatever. But I know because they moved now to Las Vegas, so, of course, they're new now. But when he was in Oakland, I've heard that stuff. It was a dump. Okay, you come to Dallas, it's like the Taj Mahal. The practice facility is better than half of the stadiums. Just the practice, the little Ford Center with the practice facility, it's better than most, stadiums. Okay. And then you got the hotel and everything else on the grounds. I mean, you got everything that you need, everything, and then whatever. Then when they was able to go to the semifinal game when the Cincinnati and Alabama played at Jerry World, see Mari and Trayvon Diggs were there and up in Jerry's box. These are things you can't really put a price tag on. Yeah, you get to do that. You get to go to Mavs games and stuff like that, which I wished he'd have did that after the season. Going to Mavericks game during the season, especially in a pandemic. But the fact that that's a happening thing, and Dallas is kind of a happening city. And you got no sales tax, no tax. It's tax, no tax. So So here's the thing, and maybe his representation told him like, man, we're gonna take the money. We're gonna take we're gonna stick with this deal. We're gonna take this money. No, we want our full money. So they got a trade partner in Cleveland. So Cleveland's gonna pay him that $20 million this year. And unless Amari sets the world on fire, 85, 95 catches, 1,400 yards, and 10, 11 touchdowns, they're not going to want to give him $20 million. They're going to say, well, we'll work a deal with like 17, 16, and 17. And if he take that, I'm going to be mad because I'm like, you could have took 16, 17, 15, 16 and stayed with the Cowboys. Okay. And trust me, all money ain't good money. And I'm going to tell you another thing. I've seen Amari Cooper play over the last 3 years for the Cowboys. That boy don't like playing in the cold. And I guarantee you after October, in Cleveland, the winds start whipping off of Lake Erie. Yeah, we gonna see how much you like that, and I'm gonna guarantee it's gonna be some days you're like, dang, I probably should have took the little bit of a haircut and see if they would have. Because Jared, the guys that Jared like, he's gonna work the deal out for him. Look what he's doing for Zeke. Okay, you know, you know. So we'll see, man. I don't know how that's gonna. I mean, because I mean, and then you playing with Baker Mayfield, but shoot. The last I heard, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are looking at Baker Mayfield. They're doing their due diligence. You know, they don't have a quarterback. They're not going to camp with Kyle Trask. You know, they're gonna need a quarterback. So, you know, and then they've offered Jarvis Landry an opportunity to go seek his own trade. So he's possibly not coming back. Now I will tell you this: the 68 for 865 and 8 would have been far away the most productive receiver on Cleveland's roster. They didn't have a single receiver other than Jarvis Landry with more than 35 catches. So, you know, so they got some guys. What's it, Donovan Peoples-Jones, and you know, they got a couple of guys. Rashard Higgins. You know, they got a couple guys. So I mean, we'll see what they do. They still got Njoku and Austin Hooper. They got a couple guys. You know, but make no mistake about it. Amari, they're banking on Amari being their number one. They're the ace, the big joker, the big kahuna. They're expecting that. And that $20 million that they're gonna give him this year, that's what they're expecting. So they're not gonna be no. Hey, I gotta sit down for when it's cold like he did for us when he was playing the Jets back in 19, and then we was playing New England, played like 5 plays and checked out against New England, and then we was playing Philadelphia late in the game that decided the division. The game, deciding play. They didn't even have him on the field. He's like, I'm good over here on the sideline. Ain't gonna be none of that. Because a lot of stuff that the Cowboys put up with him that other teams, when they look at the money they shut out, they're not putting up with that. And I guarantee you, he's gonna look back sometimes this season and like, man, I wish I'd have took that money, because I'm gonna tell you something. $20 million in Cleveland when you got tax is about the same as like $16 million in Dallas when there's no tax. So yeah, okay. You're gonna find out. All right. So, but yeah, Murray's career totals 517 catches, 7,076 yards, and 46 touchdowns. So anywho, now I know a lot of people will look at this deal and be like, well, I told y'all we shouldn't have paid Dak, but no, Dak's contract ain't never gonna be a problem until about year 3. Okay. And we just in the first year of that, until all that time, they can always go in, and because it's only a 4-year contract. Okay. So remember that it's only 4 years. So they can always go in and do some things, stretch some things out, do some things and move some money around. Those contracts have clauses in it for that they don't even have to ask him. They just go do it. But as long as his checks are the same when they go cash him, or when they get his direct deposit, he's fine. Those contracts are set up that way. Now, some folks will also say, well, why didn't they just cut Zeke? Well, because Zeke's contract was signed prior to the 2019 season, okay? And his 6-year, $90 million contract, if they was to cut him right now, I don't know how the theology, but why this is, but they would have about $30 million in dead cap money. So that's why they're not cutting him now. Now, after this year, oh yeah, it's going to be a revisited. Oh, I guarantee you that. It's going to be a revisited. And if Zeke plays the same game that Amari plays, he'll be gone too. As much as Jerry likes him, he's like, look, man, I ain't wrecking my cap. Okay. And you got a lot of money. And see, that's the thing that bothers me about Amari. Amari, no, he didn't do $20 million worth of production this year. All right. He knows that. All right. And because, those 2 years he made he was among the top 2 or 3 top paid receivers in the game. All right. You're looking at Cooper Kupp. You're looking at Devontae Adams and all these guys. He's not in the same league with them. All right. DeAndre Hopkins, not in the same league with them dudes. He's a good receiver. Don't get me wrong. I love it. But he knows, like, oh, yeah, I am kind of, I do got it kind of good here. And he should have been looking at it that way when it came. He was like, look, man, we'd love to keep you, but come on, let's work together here. We like for you to end your career here. We'll work it out. Now I gotta have all my money. And then all those people that say get some money are probably with him. But they're not gonna be going over the middle against Pittsburgh in December and it's -5 degrees. Okay. That's not gonna be those people. So we're gonna see. And the people that need to be on the watch out because this is like a cautionary tale to some other guys. Now, I think Murray is going to count 22 point something million against their cap this year. They save about 19 million on the cap. And then people that need to watch out, Tank Lawrence, they've talked to him the same way. But look, dude, that's work a deal. Since you got that deal, you got about like 5 sacks, missed a bunch of games. We really have not gotten $40 million worth of work out of you since you got the job, since you got the pay raise. Work with us here. And see, they'll probably give him a little more leeway. It's like they're giving Zeke and Dak a little more leeway because they actually drafted those guys. And Jerry kind of feels a certain way about people he actually drafted. It's like his kids. He looks at that like way. And Tank Lawrence, he drafted. Zeke, he drafted. Dak, he drafted. Okay. Zach Martin, he drafted. Tyron Smith, he drafted. Van Der Esch, he drafted. Drafted all these guys. Okay. Amari was a free agent pickup. Okay. So, and then Lyle Collins. Now, this is one that I remember I've told you, I make no secrets about it. I'm not a big Lyle Collins fan because I think Lyle Collins is not the most professional. I don't think it's another guy that don't realize how good he's got it. And I think guys that don't realize how good they got it sometimes take liberties that they shouldn't take. And coming to camp like 20, 30 pounds overweight in 2020 and then trying to like fast, microwave his training in training camp caused us to have hip issues and hip surgery and missed the entire 2020 season. And then the drug thing in game 1 caused him to miss the next 5 games of the next season. Okay. These kind of things. And then we get a guy that covered his position in Terrence Steele. And then when he comes back, he's mad because they don't just automatically move that dude and put you in position. When this dude really ain't gave up a sack in the whole time he's been out there. And actually, to be honest with you, Terrence Steele played the right tackle position when they actually gave it back to Lyle. He actually played the position better than Lyle Collins. Let's just be real about it. And he's making like $2 million a year versus 15, 16. So yeah, and like I said, I just think Lyle Collins is just, he one of them dudes. You 28 years old. It's like things in his bills, certain things that he don't pay, he hasn't paid. They're just silly things that you think somebody that age should be mature enough to be. And that's like, you really want to invest that kind of money in people like that. And like I said, the guys that Jerry chose to pay big money to, Amari Cooper notwithstanding, are guys. It's like, dude, you really want to put your on those guys? And I'm talking about Tank Lawrence. I'm talking about Zeke Elliott. I'm talking about Jalen Smith, who they've not gotten rid of. Guys that don't take their stuff seriously. And those are guys Jerry paid. But he made that tote he made that tote the line, before he got his money. So that's, whatever. So we'll see what happens. Now, hopefully, if they get Tank to do what he, because they got to create some money because they got to sign Randy Gregory. That's the thing. We got to sign Randy Gregory. And come H, Randy Gregory got to be signed. You cannot let Randy Gregory walk. We have invested too much time in. This dude was drafted in 2015, and he's had drug issue after drug issue. He fought and battled his way back. And now he's gonna get his payday. Now I hope he understands too that a lot of teams wouldn't have been as patient with him as the Cowboys were. He got drafted in 2015. That's 7 years ago. He got drafted the same year Amari did. Okay. And really his first full or almost full year was like last year, the past year. And the Cowboys just hung in there with him. All right, man, we'll stick with you. A lot of teams, if that was the Patriots, they'd have cut his butt. And we know that. So I'm hoping he's looking at that like, okay, they did kind of like, because also Bobby Wagner is on the horizon. And to get him back with DQ, Dan Quinn, let him run the defense. And, that we can actually, roll, and there's no ambivalence about how the coverage and stuff is or whatever, because Bobby Wagner can do it all. Bobby Wagner can plug the run. Bobby Wagner is good in pass coverage. Bobby Wagner makes tackles. Bobby Wagner knows where everybody else is supposed to be at. Go get Bobby Wags. And the defense can kind of cover up for maybe some of the shortcomings because we also cut Zerline, the kicker, and we also cut Blake Jarwin. Blake Jarwin's going to have some serious hip surgery that might end his career. So, put prayers up for Blake Jarwin. So it's going to be, what's the other guy's name? Dalton Schultz. And, maybe they franchise tag him so they can get a deal in place for him so he can be our tight end. If not, we let him walk. We go get O.J. Howard for $4 million. And I think he'll be just as good as Dalton Schultz. But anyway, that's all I got. Big news of the day. Amari Cooper traded, 5th-round pick, Cleveland Browns. Love Amari. Didn't like the last couple of months we had with Amari, and I didn't like that he didn't try to work with us at all. And I hope you love it in Cleveland. But I'll get with you around like December 15th and see how you making it up there in the Northeast. We'll see how you like that, but we'll see how it is. But anyway, that's all I got from the desk, Uncle Fred. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Become a part of our Fred Sports Experience. I guarantee you will not be disappointed. That's all I got. You guys take care. I'll catch you guys on the next video.